Welcome to the Stogie Geeks Show, Episode 8.
There is...
Whoop. There is a cigar. Welcome, everyone, to the
Hola.
Stogie Geeks Show, Episode 8. I'm, of course, your host, Paul Asadorian.
I'm your co-host, Ted Magrini. Happy New Year.
And this episode is, of course, brought to you by Paul.com Enterprises, the overarching evil nemesis corporation that
Who you have to love.
who you have to love, that's been funding this operation thus far. And we're here, of course, in Studio B, which someone said should be renamed to the Cigar Cave.
Why not?
Why not?
That works.
I'm all. Maybe next year we just, you know what? If you have a new name that you'd like us to call, that we've been calling Studio B, excuse me, you should send it to us. StogieGeeks@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you think we should call it. And we'll go all out. I mean, if we like the new name, we'll send you some free cigars. I'll
Fair
tell you what. If you send us in a name for our studio, because we've been lamely calling it Studio B, we will send you a feral flying pig.
Wow. Hop on that, guys.
Which is what we are smoking tonight.
Absolutely. First time for me.
So send us an email, stogiegeeks@gmail.com. And if we like the name that you choose for our new cigar smoking studio / lounge, we will send you what is the official name of this stick? Is this a Liga Privada Unico Series Feral Flying Pig?
Correct.
We will send you one of those, which is what we're smoking tonight.
Which are pretty much impossible to find 1 week after their release.
Yeah, both shops here locally that I frequent are completely sold out.
Yeah. Impressive.
And completely sold out of the L40 Lancero, which we
Smoked the last episode.
smoked on the last
Actually,
episode.
2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago,
Yeah.
yes. So, this is what we're smoking tonight. Tell you a little bit about this smoke. This is from the Unico series. So this is what we described when we smoked the L40 was, it's from the blending in the Liga side, so Liga Privada number 9. They experiment with a lot of the similar kinds of tobaccos
Correct.
that they use in that cigar, and they come up with these experimental blends. Some of them they have enough to do a short limited run of, and they want to share it with the world because there's some very unique, flavorful smokes
That work in a particular size.
Yes. Now so was the original Flying Pig, the number 9. They called it a number 9. They can provide a number 9 Flying Pig.
Correct.
So that was also from the Unico series, I would imagine?
No, I don't think the Unico series was in creation at that point.
I think you're right.
And the same goes for the T52.
That was the
which
first I
last
heard.
year's.
Yeah, that's what I heard of the Flying Pig was the number 9,
Correct.
the original one. Then there was the T52 Flying Pig,
Correct.
which I still have a couple left in my humidor.
As do I.
That was one of your favorite ones.
Oh, well, I've never had the number 9, so...
Oh, okay. Yeah, the number 9 was good. I like the number 9 better than T52.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
And I've heard that the Feral Flying Pig, has the same wrapper as the number 9. So,
As the number 9 Flying Pig.
as the number 9 Flying Pig. Correct.
Now, the Feral Flying Pig is a 5 3/8 by 60 figurado.
Correct.
So I'll hold it up for the live stream and video viewers here. It's quite a hefty cigar. I mean, when I saw the pictures of it, I was like, oh, that looks like a small little Feral Flying Pig. It's a hefty little 60 ring.
It's
I
very...
don't know. To me, it looks like a small 60 ring, but I don't know.
I would agree with you there.
You think so?
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It's a small 60.
And,
I mean,
you know,
who's
the
counting,
Perfecto
really?
is... it can be little... how do you say... I mean, because it is tapered at the foot and the head.
Yeah, it can be deceiving.
Deceiving, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Paul. Can't
So
speak deceiving.
the wrapper is Connecticut Broadleaf Viso wrapper. The binder is a plantation-grown Brazilian Matafina, and the filler is a 5-leaf Nicaraguan blend.
Excellent.
The strength is medium full. It has some kick to it.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
would agree there. These are $14.95 a piece. MSRP with a box of 10 being $149.50, which is what I paid for I bought a box. I was lucky enough to get a box, and that's what.
I split a
what I
box
paid.
with a friend, and that's what we paid. And
I like the boxes at 10.
I agree. 10 or 12 is a perfect
that's
number.
Perfect. It's great.
If you want more than a 5-pack, but at the same time don't want to drop the change on 25 cigars. So I wish more manufacturers would do it.
Tim has made my dreams come true of rum drinking.
I
Tonight
broke
as
his
well.
rum cherry this evening,
Because he's like, I kept telling him, like, I want to try rum. I'm not opposed to drinking rum. I said I'll give it a shot because my experience is drinking rum is when you're in college and you drink a Captain and Coke. And I knew somehow that in my infinite wisdom that was probably not the way that Tim and Jose Blanco on Twitter, for example, and a lot of these other people I started talking to who are into cigars described rum drinking.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. Because that's just the spiced rum and it's total crap. It's like the Budweiser.
It's a mixer.
It's a Budweiser.
Yeah, I mean,
of rums. It's
so-
kind of my guess. So I wanted to try some of the, because I heard you could sip rum straight like you would Scotch, and I'm like, well, I definitely want to give that a shot.
So tonight we are drinking the Ron. Forgive me if I'm going to torture this.
You are going to torture it.
Ron Abuelo Anejos 7 Años.
Abuelo? I'd say abuelo.
Abuelo?
Abuelo.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Abuelo.
Reasonably priced.
Añejo años.
Mid $20.
It's very important when there's that squiggly little line above the end that you pronounce it that way. I found that. Because I once pronounced años años, and that has a totally different meaning in
yes,
Spanish.
it does. I have enough trouble with English, folks. You know?
Here's the bottle right here.
Reasonably priced, mid 20s a bottle. Absolutely delicious.
It is. It's very good. I was expecting to be a lot sweeter, but it's sweet, but not like overly sweet, which is what I was expecting it to be.
And as Jose Blanco just pointed out on Twitter, that this is in a rum from Panama, which is correct. How's it pairing with?
It actually pairs really well with the cigar.
Yeah, I agree.
I think a lot of the pairing is personal preference. A lot of it's dumb luck, and there are some people who can like tell you pairings like this goes well with this, and it's like
skills out there.
yeah, it's awesome. For me, it's just dumb luck and trial and error.
Honestly, I knew what we were smoking tonight. I've had this rum before, and I took an educated guess. So
yeah, no,
I'm
it was
glad
a good
it worked out.
Yes, I'm glad it worked out too. So
awesome.
So this is a limited release cigar, the Feral Flying Pig, as I splash rum all over the place. It wouldn't be a podcast if I wasn't dropping ash or spilling something.
It's I had a suggestion from a listener earlier.
And my microphone almost fell. All right, we're good. We're good.
We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
I had a suggestion earlier from a listener that every time you drop ash in your lap that we all drink. I told him that we did not need any help in that category, that we drank.
Remind me when I talk about the elegancia
Okay.
to describe my ash experience.
Okay. I love
'Cause
to hear about your ash.
I didn't put. Yeah, I know you do. I didn't put that in the show notes, but I did. It reminded me of that. So, so this again is a limited release. I'm not sure how many boxes or cigars.
I
they made.
want to say there was only 500 to 600 boxes on this run. However, I did read somewhere that this would be made again, unlike previous Flying Pigs. Much like other Unico series releases, like the Dirty Rat, they would be re-released in limited numbers.
Oh, so Dirty Rat is coming back or not coming back?
It is. I've heard that it's going to ship again sometime in January, February.
Right.
Which is good because my second box that I've bought is almost gone. So.
Really? You really like that cigar, huh?
I love that cigar.
I don't know. Maybe I need to smoke it again. I thought it was a little overpriced for that.
Well, it is a Corona. I like the way it builds.
Yeah.
It starts
Something
off
to be said
real
for
mild and just builds up. And, well, I won't describe the end. It is, we'll keep within our ratings. So
Excellent. It's got a fantastic finish. Is what you're saying.
Yes, it does.
Excellent. So we'll tell you this. So this cigar started off a little spicy.
Definitely had some strength.
Yeah, and you could kind of hit you.
Oh yeah.
In the palate.
After smoking 2 medium-bodied cigars earlier today, though, I have to say that was a nice change of pace. Because after 2 good-sized cigars earlier, my palate is a bit raped. So
it's burning really well for me.
Oh yeah. Typical
Hold
Liga,
it up,
just
yeah.
pouring smoke.
I like that about the Liga Privada line and these Unico series. I think all have that quality where they produce a lot of smoke.
Yes.
And I like that in a cigar, personally.
It's sexy. Let's
Yeah,
face it. You
yeah.
know, I had read somewhere in some of the forums, maybe it was BOTL. They were saying it was the oils in the tobacco that causes that. So because they don't burn fast.
No, yeah, it's burning nice and slow. It's,
I expect this
it's
to
not
take-
getting hot. Well, I mean, it's a 60 ring, so
Yeah.
typically the larger ring gauges, right, won't get as hot because there's
But the same thing with the Dirty Rat does the same thing, and
Yeah.
never ever it gets hot on me. So might make me a little hot, but all right, back to the podcast. Never
very
mind.
sexual experience for Tim
Yes,
smoking these cigars.
I love you, Drew Estate.
We have been on a Drew Estate kick. I mean, they've had some great releases lately,
Yeah, the L40, like I said 2 episodes ago,
and they're very active on Twitter too, which
Yes,
I
they are.
appreciate. We've corresponded with them a lot on Twitter, which it makes it a lot of fun, I think.
Did you read that post actually that JD Jonathan Drew
No.
did? I thought I had sent that to you. Somebody had bought a box, I believe it was number 9 Ligas.
Yep.
And when they arrived, they basically were completely cracked, exploded.
Wow.
Yeah,
I have some of mine.
destroyed.
I've told you I have some of mine that are underfilled.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed. I mean, this was something with the way it was shipped.
Yeah.
Um,
okay. Yeah.
you know-
Yeah. If it goes through extreme temperature.
Oh yeah, I have
fluctuations.
no doubt the box was kicked around, but just by the looks of it.
Yeah. I've had that happen to me before. I had an Opus X. Oh, did I include that in my? Have I talked about the Opus X I smoked?
You talk about Opus X every episode, Paul.
Yeah, but I
Which
think
one?
there was one. No, I think there was one that I smoked. It was the Scorpio. Did I talk about that on the last show? I'll have to look
I
at the show
don't
notes.
remember. There was 3 different whiskeys consumed in the last show.
So, but that one was in a coffin, and I dropped the coffin, and it
You did.
it cracked the wrapper. Oh, I did talk
Yes, you
about that.
did
Yeah,
talk
and it
about
did
that.
crack the wrapper. So, definitely handling when they're being shipped.
But my whole point to mentioning it was Jonathan Drew actually stepped up in the forums and offered to replace the entire box, free of charge for the smoker, which is, that's just awesome.
It's really nice of him. Not many manufacturers are out there. First of all, not many, and I'm not knocking any manufacturers, but there are levels of participation in forums, social media from the different manufacturers.
Yes, they are.
And I think we're starting to see an upward swing. I was listening to, is it Doc Stogie Fresh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've listened to his podcast.
Yeah, I was listening to his podcast, and he was saying how he met with the General Cigar folks, particularly talking about the Macanudo brand, and how they were starting to embrace more of the social media aspect. So I think there's going to be an upward swing and a trend where you're going to see a lot more cigar manufacturers, local B&Ms, even online sites embracing even more the social media.
I agree. I mean, I think it started with a lot of the boutique blends, like the Tatuarjes, the Viajes, and a lot of the newer, manufacturers out there. But other people are hopping on. It makes sense. I mean, people want to be, they want to communicate with the people who make the cigars they love, and it's a great way to do it. So,
Right. Tim, I have to make an adjustment here in the video. If you want to start with your stogies of the week that you have been smoking, you got quite a list there. So
absolutely,
we have to and talk about Gurkha. Tell the whole story behind the Gurkha cigars that we received.
Yeah.
And
A while back,
while you're doing that, I'm going to make a video adjustment and I'll hold up the box.
Okay. A while back, I reviewed the Gurkha Evil, I believe it was, Robusto. It was a good smoke, not one of the better Gurkhas I've had, but I gave it a fair review. Soon after, I was contacted by one of the sales execs over there at Gurkha, and he was
You reviewed the Gurkha Evil.
the Evil that you gave me.
Yeah, and Dogwatch had that on their list of what they've been smoking. And I think it was Bob said he really liked the Gurkha Evil.
Yeah, I mean, to each his own. It's not a bad cigar. It just wasn't my flavor profile. The review's still up on the site. Check it out. I can certainly link to it in the show notes after the show. Sales exec was nice enough to send us a couple boxes, though. They sent us a box of Gurkha Seduction Robustos and the Gurkha Cellar, I believe it's called, in the Churchill size,
Stuff might fall when I do this.
along with some nice Schwag.
Yes.
Hold it up, that box.
Schwag.
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 Yes,
This is
say it with a Boston accent.
the Gurkha box they sent us.
One of 2.
One of 2.
That's the Cellar Reserve.
This is the Cellar Reserve box, which is it's kind of packed in like a whiskey. It looks like a whiskey or a Scotch label. on the,
absolutely.
yeah, I'll hold up some of the cigars in here.
Bought Paul. I condensed it down into one box here for Paul. That is the Seduction that Paul has
Seduction.
in the Robusto size.
And you liked this one better than the Cellar Reserve, right?
It was a little more my flavor profile. The Cellar Reserve.
Cellar Reserve is serious cigar. I mean,
Oh, it's a great smoke. Very
Nice.
medium bodied.
nice.
I actually smoked it after something today, which was a mistake because I was expecting it to be stronger than it was.
And this has like the Scotch kind of band on it. I don't know if you can see.
And
that
I
on
believe the
video.
filler in that is 15 years old,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
which explains some of the smoothness. Very smooth smoke.
Nice.
Now, the Seduction is very rich.
Yep.
Certainly a smoke that I would smoke after dinner. Strength-wise, though, not, I would say, medium on the strength. Very enjoyable. I've taken down...
This is I see the size here on the Seduction. It's on the box. This is a Churchill.
That's a prisoner,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah,
Prisoner.
Yeah,
they call
prisoner.
it. Nice. Very nice.
I probably took down about 4 or 5 of the Seduction now in the last 2 weeks, which tells you I like them.
Yeah, good. Thanks to Gurkha for sending us that stuff.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And by the way, the ashtray rocks, guys.
Yes.
It's awesome.
I saw the ashtray. It looks
Yeah.
really cool.
I really need a new ashtray, and I
You
appreciate
did, yeah.
that.
And I was like, to make sure you keep that because we're good with ashtrays here in the studio. So
Appreciate that, Paul.
yeah. And I've got other ashtrays for my other smoking areas. So
Excellent.
we should probably do a review of like ashtrays.
We can do that.
Yeah.
I like your new one, actually.
The Stinky.
The Stinky, yeah.
This is the Stinky with the stand. There's a
floor-
picture of it on the website. If you go to the Stogie's page,
The floor
yeah.
Stinky.
This is the floor Stinky. Yeah, it's kind of hard to get it on camera, but yeah, it's what I'm using right now. So.
Do you want me to continue on to my next one, Paul?
No, I'm good now. I updated the video and we held up the box. That was good. Again, thanks to Gurkha. I mean, hey, if you want to send us cigars, I want to put it out there. I mean, when Tim and I created the show, we didn't do this to get free cigars. That's
No, we
certainly
did not. I have
mean,
plenty of cigars.
as
Well,
much as everyone likes, free cigars, I mean, I have to admit I like free cigars too. There's nothing wrong with free cigars, but that's not why we did the show. By all means, if you want to send us, we'll be very grateful. We'll smoke them, whatever. But that's not why we did the show. Don't think that we're doing this just to get free cigars or want to put it out there every week to send us cigars. If you want to, we'll send cigars back. Well, we're all about the brotherhood of the leaf, so to speak.
Absolutely.
But don't feel compelled to have to send us cigars. So
Stogie Santa takes good care of us.
he
That's
does.
all I got to say.
He does.
So.
And I don't want to use this as a vehicle for me to find the things that I want to smoke either, because I don't think that's fair either.
I think
As much as I want to,
I know we're going a little off topic, but we created the podcast because it's something we're both passionate about. We enjoy. We get together once a month, anyways.
Right.
Why not do it more often? Just record it and put it out there.
Exactly.
And I've been having fun with it.
And I want the other mission, right, is to bring knowledge to people.
Absolutely.
Right. I mean, that's the goal with all of my shows that we produce in the Paul.com studios is to bring knowledge to people. I mean, that has to be the number one priority.
And we have 2 tech segments tonight.
We do. We got some pretty awesome.
I know the
tech
one
segments.
I did. I get asked every single Christmas
It's a good timely one.
because every single Christmas I have 1 or 2 friends who get a humidor, their first humidor, and they ask me, "Okay, what do I do with it?" So
Right.
we're gonna have a couple tech segments tonight that are definitely 101 for the new smokers out there, but hopefully people find it useful. And
I also just have to say it's really good to be just kicking back, relaxing,
I hear
drinking
that, man.
rum now and smoking a cigar because I haven't really been smoking much for a week because I had a cold.
How is it, by the way, Paul?
Yeah,
How do
I
you
think
like
it's really good. I really like it
This
a lot.
is awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to say, I might actually like this better than last year's. A couple
It's
months
a-
on this thing.
It's
Oof.
very smooth. The smoking, it's just a good smoking experience. So
Look at that
there's
ash.
something to be said for smoking experience, and I'm certainly getting a great experience out of smoking this so far. I'm just about through the first third.
Agree, 100%.
I smoked the Paul Gamarian Soiree Connoisseur Short Robusto.
How was it?
This was one gifted to me by Stogie Santa. It's great flavors in this little smoke. It took about an hour to smoke a short Robusto. So it burned really well. The burn
Sign
was
of a good constructed cigar.
very well constructed. The burn was great. I really like this size, and you can smoke this bad boy down to the nub. And I did. I have the burns on my fingers to prove it. And let's see. The Paul Gamarian site says this is an aged Dominican filler, aged Dominican binder, and a Colorado Nicaraguan wrapper, giving this medium to full-bodied smoke. Well, they call it a full-bodied smoke on the website. I didn't find it to be too strong. However, I think my inclination is that since it was a gift from Stogie Santa, this may have been from the original roll in 2008, giving it about 3 years of age.
Chances are, if it came from him, it had some age
it had
on
some
it.
age on it.
Yeah.
I will say I did smoke this when I was just starting to get my cold, so my palate wasn't quite there. I know that I liked it, but I want to go back and smoke a couple more when my palate's in a little better shape. And my guess is it's going to be a box-worthy recommendation because it had some good flavors to it.
Everything I've had from PG has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, he just makes great smokes.
My only gripe is they're expensive.
And I'm not sure the price on this one.
You're not? Okay.
I'll look that up because I didn't link. I should have linked to it and I didn't. I apologize. But
Do you want me to continue on while you do that?
Yeah,
or?
Stogie Guys did a review. So if you search on Google for Paul Gamarian Soiree, that's Soiree for those with spelling difficulties and spelling handicaps.
Pronunciation difficulties like me.
Yeah, that's because I always get that wrong. So if you search for that in Google, the first hit you come back with is from the Fabulous Stogie Guys website. And they've got a great review of the stick. They gave it 4 Stogies out of 5. And they list a box price, MSRP, 25 count box for a 6x50, so a Toro, which sells for $290. He says his dad paid $190 for the box of 25. That's actually, for a box of Toros at $190, that's not bad.
That's reasonable, actually. Yeah.
$290 is a little expensive, but... Yeah, so that's the Paul Gamarian Soiree. I encourage you, if you can find that at your local B&M, or find it online. I didn't do any online shopping for this cigar, because I know our local B&M has it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to try a couple more.
Support your local brick and mortar, folks.
That's right.
The next one on my list is one we talked about during our Runners Up list, actually, 2 episodes ago. The Tatuarje Kappa Especial. I was gifted this during Christmas, so...
Kappa Especial.
I revisited it. I had it with a cup of coffee at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
Phenomenal, man.
Yeah.
It's a really... I think I probably would have rated this a little higher if I had smoked it earlier in the day when I had it prior. Prior, I had always smoked it during the evening, and it's really a medium-bodied smoke. It's not a full-bodied smoke for after dinner. I mean, I guess you could smoke it then, but I really enjoyed it at lunchtime with a cup of coffee.
I think it's a medium-bodied smoke.
I rate it right up there with the Ashton VSG Transmystique.
Yeah, it's got
Paul Joyle's, Reserva, Grand Corona.
It's got some great flavors that develop throughout that cigar.
Absolutely. Nice creamy finish, nice underlying spice.
There is a little bit of creaminess to it.
Really paired well. Enjoyed it. So
it's what, $8.25? It's only one size,
8
right?
and change.
Yeah, 8 and change.
It's the 7th Reserva. It's the 7th.
Yep.
So it's the same size as the 7th Reserva and the brown label 7th Natural, which is a Corona.
Like a Corona? Corona Gorda?
Maybe a Gorda.
It's like a big Corona.
Yeah.
Which usually is a Corona Gorda, right?
Which is the perfect size for me at lunchtime. Because it's an hour smoke. Big enough that you get some great flavors off of it, quick enough that you enjoy it. So
nice. I had, just before the show, in fact, a Por Laranaga. I'm going to call it Laranaga.
Don't look at me, Paul.
I know. We're bad at the pronunciation. We'll get better, I
You're
promise.
much better than I am, so.
I'm going to call it a Por Laranaga.
Laranaga.
I'm saying it
never
wrong.
mind.
I can never say it right. I don't know why. After a few more glasses of scotch, I'll say it perfectly.
Rum.
So it's a Por Laranaga Monte Carlo. This is a 6 1/4 by 33.
Well, it's still on smoke, actually.
Yeah, it's really good. So Stogie Santa let me take a few puffs of this with age. In fact, we were... Is someone at the door?
I got it.
We were... Hang on one second. Coming. So we were recording an episode, and Stogie Santa let me take a puff of it, and it was like smoking an orange cream soda. And it was so flavorful. It was just, you were talking about this before the show, how like awesome this aged one was. I mean, this had to be between 5 and 10 years old, I would imagine. And
I gotta tell you, man, I really want to grab a box of those and age those, not just for myself,
yeah,
but honestly, I think my wife
I think so too.
would really enjoy
My
those.
wife saw this size and was very, very impressed.
Yeah.
Our good friend Mark just showed up here in the studio. Welcome, Mark.
Mark.
Hello.
He's here to help us smoke cigars and drink scotch. Imagine how horrible that sounds to everyone out there.
Wow, Mark brought something. You know, we'll let Mark get on the mic before we.
Yeah, sure. We'll let Mark get settled and grab a chair and get on the microphone. So the flavors on the ones that Stogie Sandy gave me were just unbelievable. I mean, very unique, very smooth, creamy, like I said, orange soda, if you can believe that. I still have one that he gifted me that I haven't smoked yet. In the meantime, I
You
bought a
had
box.
one.
I bought a box of 25 for $105. And it had some great flavors. I enjoyed it. It was a spicy. You could get a hint of those citrus flavors, while you were smoking it. A little strong. Oh, hang on. One of those I drank out of before. That's the used one.
That's the used one.
Yeah, that's
Grab
the
other
clean one. Yeah. If we ran out, I was
We
going to use
have
the used one.
Some very nice dark rum if you'd like to try.
I brought some goods too.
No, very
Let's
nice.
turn on your mic, actually.
All right, sounds good.
Everyone, welcome Mark to the show. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Mark's a new addition to the crew that hangs out at our local shop. A very welcome addition, Mark. So,
Well, thank you.
I heard you showed up last night, Mark.
hey, Mark,
I
poor
felt a
Mark
little
showed up
awkward
last
sitting
night.
outside.
See, I run under this assumption that everyone checks their email all day long,
Yeah,
like we do
well.
it because we work. Tim and I work in IT.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, but you know what they
online
say
all
about
the time.
assuming, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm like, I should probably text Mark and tell him that we moved it, and then I didn't. I got busy, and then
I'm sorry, Mark. It's, first night got rescheduled because Paul was sick. Second night got rescheduled because I was sick.
right. So I threw my phone in the
Yeah.
drawer. Then I checked it the next day, and I was like, oh
No, that's cool, man.
shit.
Let's hope your neighbors
In
don't
reality,
think I was
we
being
just wanted to
creepy.
get away and for a Friday night and just,
That's right.
drink and smoke. So
Did my neighbors give you some funny looks when you were standing out here in the workshop?
Maybe, I don't know.
Mark's like, what the hell, man? I wanted to know
they
what you
blew
was
me
thinking.
off. Damn it.
Oh boy. Well, I'm glad you're here now.
So what you bring us, Mark? Actually,
Well, I brought a bunch of stuff. I brought Tim here, Tim, a Christmas present here. Ramon Alione's Special Selected from 2005.
Oh, very
Thank
nice.
you.
I was looking
Paul
at
got
the
his hands on
special.
one of those in a trade that we did.
I like the special selected. I was looking at a box of those. They're not that expensive, actually.
No, they're really affordable,
yeah,
actually.
they're a great smoke.
Yep. One of my favorites from that island south of Miami.
the
You
island.
can say it. It's Cuba.
Yeah, we
okay
talk
with
about
that.
it all
Yeah,
the time.
We're okay with that.
Thank you, Mark.
We're okay with the forbidden fruit.
But
I'll look forward to this.
I always
You're
have
gonna enjoy that, Tim.
just a couple goodies in here.
Oh, the Dark Ritual,
Yeah,
Nice.
my
you know.
favorite smoke.
Perfect smoke for a Friday evening.
Yes.
Yeah, I got
yes.
into a box of them, so.
Yeah, those are awesome. So that was the Por Laranja. Is that how do you say
Por Laranga.
Laranga?
Thank you.
Laranga.
Somebody
Laranga.
can speak.
I was putting extra
Paul was,
syllables in there.
Paul was
For the
looking at
throat,
me for
if
help.
I'm not
And
mista- if I'm not mistaken.
Is that what it means?
I believe so.
what does it mean?
Laranga.
For the throat,
Okay, interesting.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Someone,
we got
someone
the,
will correct me if I'm wrong.
We were smoking the Monte Carlos. They were really good. We like that size.
And I checked, and that's not
Sure.
a traditional Cuban size.
No, it's a 6 1/4 by 33. It's
Oh, it's tiny.
yeah, it's
It's petite, yeah.
it's damn good though. So Tim, what else you been smoking?
Let's see. What's out next on my list? The Viaje Holiday Blend Petite Robusto from 2011.
The new holiday blend.
The new holiday blend.
I have one of those in my box. I was actually going to try and smoke it after the show.
Now, do you have the short Robusto or the Torpedo?
This being Friday, none of us have to work tomorrow, and my wife will probably be asleep. I'm figuring the after show party will just keep going.
All right.
And
then.
I brought the holiday blend to smoke after that.
You know what? I have to say, one of the better Viaje releases this year. My wife was kind enough to gift me 2 of these for Christmas. And I smoked, actually, the Torpedo tonight in the shop and the Petite Robusto on Christmas. And both were great. I'm leaning a little to the Petite Robusto. Nice medium-bodied smoke, earthy, with a nice mix of nuts and cream. Very unique underlying spice. Reminded me a lot of cloves, actually. Maybe it was just the holiday. But I enjoyed this. Definitely a 5.
I find that what the cigar's named kind of puts these preconceived notions about the flavors.
Yeah, I kind of questioned it.
Yeah.
But you know
The
what?
Quesada Oktoberfest was the quintessential
Yeah.
like preconceived notion in what you taste in a cigar.
Yeah, I questioned that when I was smoking
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
you know what? I definitely recommend it. I think it's a good quality, a good smoke. Check it out.
Gracias. Mark's brought
What is
Scotch whiskey, for us to sample.
Is that a blend or a single malt?
Single malt, Speyside. It's Abalur Abunad, I believe it is pronounced.
We'll go with that. You're better at pronouncing stuff already than we are, so.
I can see we're going to get into trouble this evening again.
Yes.
Last time we drank 3 different whiskeys, and I had the worst headache I've had since college. After the next day, so
This is what we go through for our listeners.
very nice. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, thank you very much, Mark. All right. Oh, so one that I forgot to talk about is actually one that I got from Mark in a trade. No, I'll talk about that one next. I'll talk about, so I got 2 San Cristobal's on there. One is a Cuban, one is from Ashton.
Okay.
So one is the San Cristobal Elegancia, which we talked about on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after my week of having a cold, my first cigar that I smoked was one of these. Because it's not too strong.
It's pretty mild.
It's good get back in the swing of things kind of cigar.
Absolutely.
And man, I'm just loving these sticks. I mean, it's a medium body. It's like a mild to medium bodied smoke. It burns well. It's priced reasonable, and it just hits a home run flavor wise.
I agree.
The finish on this cigar, I was just getting this like pouring of sweet flavors on the finish of this cigar. Like I didn't want it to go out at the end because there was just so much of this great, sweet, almost caramel type flavor at the finish of the cigar.
Yeah, the sweetness on that finish is just incredible. I smoked one of these Christmas Eve morning, actually,
Yeah.
with a cup of coffee, and really enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
So-
So is that your first one?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, actually, that was the second one because
Okay.
I had smoked it right before the prior show.
Gotcha.
So my
And
wife
you're really
was-
digging it too, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Top of my list of breakfast smokes these days.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's my new go-to breakfast smoke with coffee.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Padron 1926 series. Believe it or not, I have not had a 1926 series since last Christmas.
Really?
It's not that I don't have any in my humidor. I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's just for some reason I associate the smoke with the holidays. And I don't know why. But I had a different size this year, actually. I tried it.
I associate the Padron Anniversary Series with like breathing.
Well, you know, I'm not going to lie. I'm on a budget. You know,
They are pricey,
and
there's
pricey.
really no way to get around that.
Yeah.
like sometimes you'll tell me like sticks are pricey, and I'm like,
I'm not
Oh.
saying they're not worth it.
Yes.
They're worth
No,
every
that's
single
right.
penny.
but
However-
sometimes you'll tell me that, and I'll be like, we can get a box on closeout, we can go online, we can get it on not with
Not with
Padron.
Padron.
Not those.
No.
No,
If anything, I see them going for more than MSRP online.
an auction. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
all
I mean,
the
you look.
time.
Some of the gift sets you can score. You can maybe save $5 or $10 off a gift set.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Absolutely.
And you got to be lucky.
So this one was actually a natural wrapper, and I know a lot of times
nice.
you like the natural wrapper, and it was the number 35, which is
What?
a 4x48, which is a lot smaller than I typically go to with this line. I still like the larger size, but it was nice on a cold winter night. Very enjoyable. Smoked that thing down to a ½ inch. Never got hot. Enjoyed every single minute of it.
Nice.
I love my wife. That's all I got to say.
She gifted this to you as well.
I absolutely, yeah. This came
Very
in a
nice.
Christmas gift pack.
Very
so.
nice. I actually received a Christmas gift in the form of green money.
Oh yeah.
And my wife's like, I'm not buying you any cigars. She told me that right up front. But I got the gift of the Benjamins, right? So
Yep.
I went and I bought the box of the Padron Anniversary Pyramids.
Very nice.
And I bought, I did a mixture. I did a $5 of the 45th Anniversary Natural, the special, what are they? Family Reserve, thank you. Family Reserve Natural, 45th, and Maduro. So I combined. So I took like 5 Naturals and 5 Maduros, and I begged and pleaded, and I'm like,
Now you can completely compare.
well, and I said, can I still get the box discount? And they're like, absolutely, because you can save 10% buying a box. I mean, they're $25 a stick.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
So yeah, so saving 10% was big. And being able to mix the wrappers, I think you get a nice mixture, and that was kind of my Christmas gift of cigars.
Very nice.
So I think I also
Well
picked up
done.
some Paul Gamarian Symphony Salamones
Yep.
in that purchase as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Which should age fantastically.
So I'm like, I mean, just that purchase alone, if I had to just smoke that stuff, I'd be okay for a while.
You'd be all right on a desert island.
I'd be all right on a desert island with those smokes,
Nice.
So the other San Cristobal, this is San Cristobal de la Habana, and I had never smoked anything from this particular Cuban brand. And Mark here and I did a trade, and gave me this little torpedo. I think it's the La Punta, right?
Yes.
La
I love the
Punta.
name.
Yes, C. And it was really, really good. Just great. I think if I had to think of a stick that really kind of represented the Cuban flavors, this would certainly be one of them. It burned great. It poured smoke, too, which is, from a lot of Cubans, don't really pour smoke like that. And it does. It pours smoke.
Yeah, they're it'll be a shame when those aged ones are gone.
Yeah,
Put it that way.
yeah. And they're reasonably priced. And I know you said you had a box, and then you smoked through quite a few of the aged ones. They came out in 1998, right?
Well, they did. Those are not from 98, though. Those are from 05, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I had 12 La Puntas and 12 La Fuerzas.
Okay.
So I essentially had a box full of the two different sizes.
Right.
They're actually really similar in size.
Okay.
One just has a torpedo, and the other one has a more traditional cap on it.
Yeah.
You know? But,
It was really, I was really impressed
phenomenal
with it.
smoke.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think I saw them online for like $190 for a box of 25, $180 a box of 25.
Less than $200 for a box of 25 is
Were
always
those
a steal.
aged or were those?
No, those are new.
Okay.
Those are new. So I'm not sure how the new ones are going to compare to the aged ones.
When I
but-
ordered those, though, I didn't order them as aged, and they came with a box date that was from the prior year.
sometimes you get lucky,
Right.
like that, right?
So that's
I've had that luck as well.
yeah.
I've actually had friends that have said, if you go to this website, I think it was Cigars or Habanos, and you order this particular cigar, his stock that he has is from 2008,
That's awesome.
and there's like 2 boxes or a box left or whatever. And we ordered that box, and sure enough, it came with a box date. I think they were punch.
That's called win right there.
They were
Winning.
Yeah, yeah. They were punch super selection ones. There were
Okay.
those punch SS ones.
I had a couple of those actually.
Yeah. Those were from a box date of 2008 that we just ordered from the website.
Nice. Nicely
Now,
done.
some people said you can email the person and ask them, hey, I'm interested in these. What do you got for box dates, kind of thing, and they'll check for you.
Sure. Why wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's in
Yeah,
their
I mean,
best
because you're going to
interest, right?
spend. Those were upwards of $300 a box.
Were
But
they really?
I think so. I think
Wow.
the SS ones were like
The
305. Yeah, the punches. Punch SS
That
ones.
explains
Punch in
why
general are kind of more on the more expensive side in terms
Yeah,
of Cubans.
yeah. So like 305 for a box of 25.
That explains why you
But-
only gave me one.
Yeah, but because
I don't blame you.
I only have half a box, right? Because at that price we split the box.
Oh no, I
And,
appreciate it. Appreciate it.
But a lot of those were plugged too.
Yeah, the one I had was a little tight.
Yeah.
I still smoked it down to a nub though.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
I got
Those are strong too for a Cuban.
I agree.
Topic here, but
Yeah.
the SS ones are strong.
punches in general are great smokes, but I found more problems with those being punched than any other Cuban or
Plugged.
plugged than any other Cuban brand. Believe it
Really?
or not,
Interesting.
yeah. I got a box of Coronas one time that half of them had to have been plugged.
Yeah. That happens. So, what else you got on your list, Tim? I see one here that's listed as the Oasis, which I think is
I
awesome.
have 2 left on my list. I know your list is done, so I'll pump through them. Yeah, Liga Privada number 9 Toro. The Oasis, enough said. What can I say? I mean, this cigar's awesome. Haven't had one in a while. Had a few in my humidor that have probably a good year of age on them.
Did I
took
tell you
one
the
down.
story of how I found the Liga Privada number 9?
I was in the boat with you, actually.
Yeah.
So
I went to our local B&M, and the regular guys weren't working. Now, our local B&M that we go to is a liquor store and a cigar store in one.
yep.
So one of the cashiers from the liquor store was covering cigars. I was like, I want to try something different. She said, well, Paul really is fond of these. He really likes these cigars. We were one of the first ones in the state to get them. He says they're really good. I said, well, I'll try one. And then I think we were out in the boat.
We were fishing.
It was one of the first ones. I don't think that was the first one I smoked. It might have been the second one when we were on the boat fishing. It was just awesome. It was just totally awesome. I'm like, wow, I'm really hooked. And then a different local B&M.
Get it hooked, folks.
Yes, hooked, huh? Then a different local brick and mortar store had an event by Drew Estate. And it was not Jonathan Drew, but the other one from Drew Estate.
Steve Sacker?
It might have been Steve Saka.
Okay.
Or it might have been the other one. Marvin. It was Marvin.
Okay.
Came down to that local B&M and did the event. And they had a Scotch whiskey tasting. You got food. So the deal was, and we'll get a little off subject here. I think we're almost done with our list, so I'll get a little off topic. It was one of the first really enjoyable events that I had been to because the numbers I'm going to kind of make up, but basically it was $25 for a ticket. They get you into the door. They get you a meal. They got you a free Scotch whiskey tasting. I don't know if it was Jameson or if it was, I think it was someone else, or it was free drinks. And then we had Johnny Walker Black, whatever. It was $25. Free drinks and food, okay.
Yeah.
You could take that $25 and apply it towards a box purchase. The box purchase was discounted, say 10%, right? So they're knocking the boxes down 10% if you bought a box.
When?
So now you take your ticket price, you apply it to the box, in minus 10%, and they were giving you a 5-pack sampler. I got 3. I got more than 5, I think, but I got 3 or 4 Liga Privada number 9s from the original roll, is what they claimed, and I agree because I smoked them all and they were way better than the regular ones.
Did it have that Saka band on it like this?
They were in cellophane, and I've never seen a Liga in cellophane before. So right there, it was kind of different, and they smoked way better than the regular box. So I bought a box of the Liga Privada number 9 Bellicosos, applying all those discounts plus the 5 cigars.
Win.
And
3 wins there.
And I got a cutter and a hat.
Where was I for this event?
It's not a cheap hat. Have you ever seen the Drew Estate hats? Yeah. They say Bertha cigars. They're that canvas, green canvas, olive color. And the cutter is actually really nice. It's one of those cutters that's solid on the bottom, so you open up the blades and you put the cigar in.
Cuban Crafters or whatever.
It's almost like a Cuban Crafters, but it's more well constructed, I think, than the Cuban Crafters. Yeah. Maybe it's the same one. I don't know, but it's a decent cutter.
Nice.
Yeah. So, that makes a box purchase a no-brainer, right?
I'm wondering where I was for this event because...
was that last year?
That was 2 years ago. I want to say that was 2009. Yeah, that was 2009.
They had one last year, too.
Yeah, the same deal. Well. Yeah. So, to our listeners out there, if you can find a local brick and mortar that's offering those deals, if you're eyeing a box purchase or you have keep tabs on the events that are coming to your local area, if it's from a manufacturer that you really like, take a look at the deal because it may be a no-brainer box purchase like that. And
you're supporting your local B&M.
To me, you save up some of your cigar budget, and that's when you buy a box of cigars you really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially, I haven't seen the 5-pack sampler like that at any other event. To get a 5-pack sampler of some aged cigars is
why not, right?
Yeah, that's unheard of. I haven't seen that before.
Awesome.
So, that's how I'm hooked on the Liga Privada number 9. But some of them have had some construction. I have had a little construction issues.
You said that about the bellies, right?
The bellies tend to be underfilled.
Yeah.
Not all of them. It's just
now I do have a few bellies in my humidor that I have not tried. I have not tried that size.
See, I liked the belly better than the Toro at the time. Yeah. But I think people still like
the Toro's the one I lean to.
Yeah.
I had the Robusto and the Toro.
Towards the Toro.
Toro's the one I lean towards. But
interesting.
But last one on my list. It seems like every major holiday, my wife takes my son, who's 6, to the local liquor store, and they have a small selection of cigars there, and he points to something that visually pleases him.
I like that.
This is how often I actually get some really good cigars. Last Father's Day, it was the Avo Heritage, which I had never tried.
Pretty good.
Which is a solid Dominican smoke. This Christmas, it was the Ashton Esquire Natural in the tin of 10. Which is a 4 1/4 by 32.
Really?
Less than $2 each if you buy them in the tin and 10.
Yeah.
I gotta say, solid smoke for $2 on a cold winter night, man. I enjoy them. I've smoked 3 of them this week since I got them. Thanked him greatly. He was all proud of his purchase and his present to me.
Yeah.
I recommend it. So
Now,
I gave it a Tinworthy.
a Tim Worthy, yeah.
So.
My son's in preschool, and he picked out gifts with the preschool that he goes to, and we gave him like $20, and he picked out like a few dollars each gifts for the whole family, and I got an ice scraper.
Very nice.
I would have much rather had an Ashton Esquire Natural. I was very thankful for the ice scraper.
He doesn't listen to the podcast, does
No.
he? Okay, good.
I do like the ice scraper, though. I will keep it in the car and use it.
Now, have you had the Ashton Esquire?
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. 20-minute smoke for those cold winter nights, so
Very good.
it's the spot.
We will let's do this. Let's take a little break here and come back. Well, you know what? Let's talk about how our
I was just going to say
flying
that.
feral pigs are doing. I'm getting better with that, talking about how we're doing on the cigar.
We
for
are
smoke.
getting
Sometimes I forget. We just start talking and like all of a sudden it's the end of the show, and I'm like, yeah, hey, that was a great cigar.
I'm about halfway through mine.
Yeah, you're flying through yours. See, I'm
You're
not.
flying, get it? Haha.
I'm not as in. See, I'm a week out of
Mark's
practice.
the only listener that thought that was funny.
I'm a week out of practice of smoking, or I've been talking too much. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a combination of both.
But
So I'm.
it is
I'm
a
not
strong
quite-
smoke, holding a good 1-inch ash before falling. Great flavors. Still strong. I'm enjoying it, man. So, what do you think?
I'm really liking it. I don't know.
is-
We've been doing a lot of talking, so I haven't really been paying attention to flavors as much as I probably should have.
Yeah.
But just great smoking experience. Holds a nice tight ash, so to speak, and it's smoking great.
Yeah,
Pouring smoke. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good. All right, we'll take a short break and come back with... we got 2 Stogie Tech segments this week that surround humidors. Tim's going to talk about seasoning your humidor, and I'm going to talk about the first part in a multi-part series. I'm not even sure how many parts it's going to be in the series because I want to make sure we cover this topic in its entirety because there's a lot of information here. But I'm going to talk about buying a wine refrigerator and converting it into a humidor, and this is part 1. So we'll take a short break and come back.
Hola.
Just, sitting here chewing the fat. Talking about, and we should talk about this on the show.
Yes, we should.
You donated to Cigars for the Troops?
Yeah, I forget the name of the charity. The forum that I am a regular on, for that matter.
Which forum is that?
Cigarpass.com.
Okay. I think I linked to that review of one of the smokes I had. Go ahead.
A guy there is heavily involved in the charity. I forget the exact name of it, but I got hooked up pretty well for Christmas, so much so that I didn't have room in my humidor. So I bagged up a bunch of stuff that I wasn't super excited about, shipped them out to him, and he shipped them out to the troops in Afghanistan.
Nice.
So,
And I believe the same dude is on BOTL, too.
probably.
Yeah, he does
What's
it.
his name?
I don't remember off the top of my head, to be honest.
So you can
but-
send him cigars and he'll send them to the troops? Because
Yes.
I need to do that too.
And he's a reputable guy.
I
you
gave a box to my, like I said, my neighbor who was being deployed, for the troops. But
Sure.
I definitely have more that, again, I mean...
It's just stuff I'm not super excited
yeah.
about, but somebody that's sitting in the middle of Afghanistan
Yeah,
is going to
exactly.
be
Yeah.
totally
Yeah,
pumped
absolutely.
about, and it's a worthwhile cause. And let's be blunt, they're doing something we're not.
Right, exactly.
They're doing something for us. So
Yeah, I agree. That's a great way to make room in your humidor. I agree.
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season. So, Tim, tell us about your tech segment, Stogie Tech segment with Tim.
Yeah, so this, every Christmas, at least the last few Christmas, I get asked by 1 or 2 people who tell me they got their first humidor, and they're not quite sure what to do with it. It's usually a small desktop humidor. This is going to be very 101 for those seasoned veterans out there, and I apologize, but I think I'm hoping some of our listeners who are newer to the Leaf are going to get something out of it.
Well, and even the seasoned listeners, feel free to just point them to this tech segment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think what I want to do is pull out a lot of these tech segments and put them in an archive somewhere so you can find them more easily.
Good idea, actually, yeah. So, somebody gifted you your first desktop humidor for the holiday. Nicely done, sir. What do you do with it? I'll tell you right now, you do not want to stick your cigars in it right away. You need to season it first.
I also want to say the Cigar Authority podcast, or radio show and podcast, was talking about how, and it applies to this segment, that the people that smoke 1 cigar a month, few cigars a year, 6 cigars a year.
Yep.
They need a well-maintained humidor more than the people like us that are smoking at least a cigar a day.
I agree.
Right? Because we're smoking through them,
Yeah, I
so
agree.
it's not
Absolutely.
as important, but it's more important for the people that don't smoke as often to maintain their humidor well.
I agree. The person that actually kind of initiated this post, this text segment, is a gentleman I work with. I had bought him a couple Padron 1926s earlier this year that he really wanted for his vacation back in August, and they've been sitting in his glove box ever since.
Oh.
And I told him that I am not going to buy you anything anymore
Right.
unless you get a proper humidor. His significant other gifted him one this Christmas.
Nice.
So that kind of
Now,
prompted
you
this
can make a
post.
makeshift humidor out of a Ziploc bag. I mean, if you got
Or a piece of Tupperware.
yeah, half a dozen cigars or dozen cigars,
A couple Bovita packs for $4 each.
Yeah, you gotta
And-
watch the Bovita packs though. When they start to get hard and crusty, you gotta replace them.
Absolutely, and it'll do the job.
Yeah, they
And
will.
when I get overfilled, that's what I do.
Hmm.
I grab a cooler, I grab a piece of Tupperware, I throw a couple of Bovita packs in there with a couple boxes that I might be overfilled with, and it works. I mean, it's
I have I'm using my cooler now as in my overfill.
Yep.
I've got a like 2.5 or 3 pounds of beads
I can help you with that
in
overfill.
a gigantic cooler that it's just my overfill right now.
Nice. So the whole point of a humidor is to maintain a consistent humidity for the cigars you're storing. Now, the consistent and relative humidity varies according to who you talk about. I put 62 to 72%. Paul, what do you say?
No, that range is accurate because I think anything over 72, you're going to be susceptible to mold and bugs, tobacco
Or
beetles.
cracking.
Yeah, or cracking.
Yep.
I think anything less than 62, and they're going to be too dry and they're going to taste bad.
I agree.
Yeah.
Now, the exact humidity is a matter of preference.
Yeah, but in that range.
Yeah. What's important is you maintain a consistent humidity, however.
Now, I will say, as preference, though, 65 is the number for me.
See, I go with a little higher. I go around 68, 69%.
Yeah.
But it also depends on the type of cigars you're smoking, too.
You have to keep in mind, though, that it's going to fluctuate.
It is.
Right? And at 63 or 62, if it fluctuates down, you're going to have way too dry of a cigar.
Yes.
If your humidor is always at 71, 72, if it fluctuates up, humidity rises in the ambient humidity in the room, you're going to be at a way too high of a humidity, which is why I like the between 65 and 68 is fine.
It is middle of the range.
Because you can fluctuate a little bit and still be okay.
I agree with that. That's a good point. I didn't think of that. Yeah. Because I've had the opposite problem. I've had too much humidity.
I've had every
And my
I've had
cigars,
every problem there
you
is
have. We've
imaginable
talked
with my
about it, yeah.
humidor.
True.
So.
It's
Right,
nothing
but
worse.
Mark, can I,
There's nothing worse than seeing half a dozen Liga Privada number 9s expand and cracked.
Yes, exactly.
That would make
because
that'll bring
when
a tear to your eye.
When it gets too humid, they will expand and the wrappers will crack.
Or worse, if you have too much temperature too, you get bugs.
You'll get bugs, right?
Which
Or mold.
That's
or
the
mold.
worst.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I don't know what's worse, as
Yeah.
mold or bugs. They're both bad problems.
I've had many of these
Yeah.
problems too.
They're both devastating. I mean, once it gets
Yeah.
there, it's done.
There's many, most desktop humidors come with some sort of sponge type humidification
And
device.
we've talked about that before.
And we have. I do not get into it with this
right.
post.
Throw away the green sponge
Throw away the green sponge.
in the trash.
Check into the Bovita packs or some beads.
Yeah.
You'd be much happier.
Even water pillows are better than the
Even
green
water
sponge,
pillows.
Yeah.
Less maintenance, better accuracy with your humidity.
Well, now,
And-
not to give too much in, but Bovita and beads will both emit and absorb humidity, which
Correct.
is what you want.
It's what I use.
Yeah.
It's what you use, Paul.
In my other two humidors, yes. In my Avalo, it has a system that doesn't require
Correct.
the absorbing. I almost want to put some beads in the Avalo that has their system because it is active. But
Well, compared to where we live in New England,
Yeah.
it gets quite humid.
My
So-
big aristocrat I throw, there's probably two and a half pounds of
Yeah.
beads in the aristocrat.
they
Nice.
can't hurt.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. You really can't oversize beads
Yeah.
because, again, they will absorb humidity if it gets too humid. So,
Right.
So proper humidity, 62, 72%. You can experiment with what works best for you and the cigars you're storing. I have read that some people who smoke a lot of Cubans like a low humidity. I could say...
I've heard that, too.
Yeah. I can
Why
say
is
from
that?
experience, some of the darker tobaccos, like the Corojos,
They're oily.
will tend to absorb a lot of humidity.
Yeah.
So you don't want to run up around 72%.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they're not
yeah.
going to smoke right. They're not going to burn right.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience. But consistency is really the key. Whatever you decide on, you don't want it to rapidly increase or decrease. You want to try to keep it consistent. In order to get there, though, you have to season your humidor. The whole purpose of the cedar lining of the humidor is to absorb moisture and keep the humidity the right level.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this is for desktop humidors, mostly.
correct.
Yeah.
These are cedar-lined humidors.
Yeah.
So, one of the quickest ways, and it's not the only way I have seasoned a humidor, is to wipe it down with distilled water with something clean. Preferably something that you've not used any solvents or soap with, like a sponge or a rag. And usually what I do is first night, I'll wipe it down lightly.
Well, now, a note on that. I want to... Some of the things that I've seen is that some of the sponges that you find are like pre-treated before they're packaged
That's a good point.
with some kind of cleaning solvent or soap. So read the packages before
Be
you buy
careful.
this. Yeah, before you buy the sponges. And I also think a great way, no matter what sponge you have, is to soak that in distilled water first. Distilled water, not regular tap water.
Not water.
Take your
regular
distilled water, pour it in a little Tupperware container, soak your sponge in it, wring it out a few times, and then let your sponge dry out, because that's going to get out anything that may have been accumulated in that sponge during the manufacturing process.
I tend to use some of those heavier paper towels that are
I
meant
use-
for cleaning.
Along
To be
those
honest
lines,
with you.
it's kind of funny. I use paper towels, even though they might leave like little pieces of it. I just kind of brushed those out.
Yeah,
afterwards.
it's annoying, but you're
Yeah.
pretty assured at that point
Right.
that it's no other chemicals in it. And
Trader
ahead.
Joe's does make these ones out of cellulose. They're 12, come in 12 pack, and they're pre-shrunk.
Mm-hmm.
Completely untreated, 100% natural.
nice.
Nice.
Soak those in the water. That's what I've always used.
I
around
know
the
where I'm
house,
going
and
next
then
time I get a
use
humidor.
couple of 'em,
Yeah, that's
but
a good.
they're
good
sold
tip.
at Trader Joe's. They're cheap. They're
Yep.
not treated, 100%
Right.
natural, and they're very effective.
And great prices on wine, I might add. At
Trader
your local
Joe's?
Trader Joe's, so I'm just saying. you
Maybe
know?
in Massachusetts.
Maybe not here. Not here in Rhode Island. You can't.
Really?
Find, yeah, no, they
Oh.
don't sell liquor here in Rhode Island. That's interesting.
So, let's go back on the distilled water. The reason you want distilled water is you don't want any chemicals or impurities in the water. So, I'll just leave it at that. Same reason.
Another
for
note on that, right? If you use tap water, you're likely going to get the green mold, and any kind of mold is bad. And the green mold is usually what grows from using tap water because that's the minerals.
Paul, you're going to give me nightmares tonight, man.
Green mold is bad. White mold is any kind of mold is bad.
Any kind of mold is bad.
but tap water, you will
green
see
is
green
worse
mold.
than the
Yeah.
white. Yeah, absolutely. So procedure-wise, what you want to do, usually what I do, is I lightly dampen the cedar in the lining the first night I have the humidor. You do not want to soak it. You do not want to warp that cedar lining. Dampen it, and usually what I'll do is I'll either put a bowl of water, distilled water, in the humidor.
And dampening it too is there's a color change, right?
Yes,
when you
there
look at
is.
the inside of it, it's a light brown. When you run the sponge over it, it'll turn to a dark brown. You want to make sure that you dampen the entire, 100% of the exposed cedar should change from that color of light brown to dark brown.
And
It's
don't
kind of
forget-
the rule of thumb that I
Yeah,
was using when I
absolutely.
seasoned.
Don't
Yeah.
forget your separators, folks.
Yeah, those two.
'Cause
Anything that's
usually
gonna
your
be
small to medium desktop humidors will have a separator off to one side.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize it's there, but that's the whole point is to...
Yeah. Then you get into like, should cigars touch each other?
Well, let's not go there.
Yeah.
There's
But
a separate
anyway,
text
that's
on
what the
there.
separator's for. But anyway,
This text
seasoning-
segment
yeah,
was
yeah.
about 2 pages long until I cut it down. So
because you can go off on a lot of
it's,
tangents here, but
yeah.
that's the point of the separators to separate your cigars. But
Yeah.
yeah, make sure you season that too.
I put a bowl of water, or you can put the towel or sponge in the humidor overnight. I recommend putting
point.
on some plastic so it doesn't soak the cedar
Absolutely.
too much. Leave it sitting shut overnight.
A shot glass works well for that too.
Absolutely.
Also, a water pillow, which is sold at online shops. You can buy them in sheets, or a lot of the the local B&Ms will have a glass jar that'll have the water pillows that are already charged up. And it's basically this pillow that's you soak it in distilled water and it expands out, and then they put that pillow inside of a little special Ziploc baggie that has a couple holes in it.
It
Looks
tends
like
to hold the water a lot longer.
you know, like the
too.
hole punch your second grade teacher used to use. The bag has a couple of those holes in it, and that it emits humidity. So what Stogie Santa told me was, get a water pillow, soak it in distilled water, take it out of the little baggie, and put the little baggie in the bottom of the humidor, and put the water pillow on top of that little baggie
Nice.
and leave it in overnight.
Nice.
And what that does is it tests how much moisture your humidor is absorbing. So if you put that water pillow in there, outside of the baggie, leave it on top of the baggie so it doesn't soak in like Tim was saying, and you leave it there for 24 hours. You open up your humidor. If your water pillow has like compressed and lost humidity, it'll actually compress down and get smaller. That means that your humidor is still absorbing moisture. You may want to season again and go through the whole process of wiping.
Now, I
Now,
do it. I don't wait 24 hours. I do it every 12 hours.
Yeah, or you can do 12 hours.
And I usually hit it again in the morning.
Absolutely.
I'll wipe it down again.
Right. If you leave that water pillow in there, though, after you've seasoned it for 12 or 24 hours, and it hasn't lost any visible, notice of losing humidity, then you're probably pretty well seasoned. So it's a good kind of measure to know if you've done it right.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, after the first day, you're going to want to put your hygrometer in there.
Yeah. No
See where you're
cigars.
at.
Now, notice we have
No cigars.
no cigars are in the humidor at
Absolutely
this
no
point.
cigars.
No cigars.
Trust me, experience. No
Yeah,
cigars.
No cigars.
Leave the hygrometer in there all night.
You mean the hygrometer?
Hygrometer. Sorry, thank you. Check it in the morning. See where it's at. If you're good, if it's in the range that you want to be, and the cedar is relatively dry,
It's kind of like your pet at this point. You
Yes.
keep checking on it.
Absolutely.
You're fostering
it's okay to put the
growth.
cigars in there. However, one caveat, you're going to want to check that bad boy every
Yes.
12 hours or so for the next few days. Because once you put the cigars in there, they're going to start absorbing moisture.
Basically, the rule of thumb is once you know that your humidor can hold some moisture and it's seasoned, you want to put your hygrometer in there. You want to put your humidification device in there.
Absolutely.
Then so you make sure it maintains a
Absolutely.
pretty steady humidity. And then make sure on its own before any cigars that it can do that for 24 hours.
I agree. At that point, put your cigars in there. Keep on checking it for the next few days. At that point, you should be good.
Because what's going to happen?
Theoretically.
Well, what's going to happen is when you put your cigars in there, and I think in cellophane or in coffins or not, they may absorb some of that moisture, and you may have to recharge.
they will.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and you're going to have to recharge your hygrometer at that point to compensate from those cigars.
Your
sucking in.
humidity device, not your hygrometer.
Your humidification device, whatever that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, beads certainly. I mean, we can. Well, that's like a totally
It
separate
could
segment.
take a good solid week or so.
Could.
Once your cigars get in there to kind of get stability.
Yeah. I mean, if
but
you're
this
taking
is the quickest way I know
Yeah, I agree.
and safest way I know to do it. I mean, you could certainly put your humidification device right in the humidor and wait several weeks and keep checking it.
Yeah. What you're going to do at that point is just you're going to have to keep recharging your humidification.
Yeah, every couple
Yeah,
days you're going to have to recharge it.
It's not good.
and
Yeah, it's not good.
This is kind of the fast track way of doing
Yeah.
it. So
The gel works okay. I've gotten actually.
yeah, let's touch upon that because I took that out of the show notes, but
So I was going through some of my older desktop humidors, and I had a cigar coffin in one of them that I had taken the top off of the coffin, so it was just like a little box basically, and that's a good holding point for your humidification devices, which is kind of a good tip out there. Beads and are definitely, I think, the best. My number
agree.
one recommendation, because they're active, they're going to absorb and they're going to emit humidity as they
and
need it.
there's lots of good manufacturers out there. I use Hartfeld Industries, but
Hartfeld Industry beads are awesome. I use those in all my other humidors. aside
and they
from
got
the
some
Valo.
really good pre-packaged beads that will fit in the lid of your humidor. There's
you've
one
got
picture.
You've got a picture in here that I
Yep.
thought was great.
That's a standard size 100-count humidor that came with a 2x9-inch humidification sponge device in the lid, and I replaced it with a pre-sized Hartfeld Industries bead container that's always pre-packaged, and it
And you
works
can
great.
buy beads that will keep different levels of humidity.
Absolutely. These are 70%, I believe. Humidity beads.
Mine's 68, 70, 65.
Now, on their site, they actually have a calculation you can actually buy the beads by the ounce,
Yep.
according to the size of your humidor, the cubic footage of the humidor.
Right.
These are oversized. You really can't oversize them.
Yeah,
however.
I would go oversized because what
I
that's going to
agree.
do is when you open and close the humidor, it's going to compensate more quickly the more beads you have.
And I'll tell you what I do with this particular picture on this post. I only charge one side of these
Yeah,
beads.
absolutely.
So the other sides are dry. So in the warm, humid months
It's
here in New
absorbing.
England,
Yep.
they're actually absorbing humidity. I might charge my humidity beads once
Yep.
every summer in New England here, because literally there's so much humidity in the air that they're actually absorbing.
Yeah, in the winter you're going to charge it more often
Oh yeah, absolutely. So
because it gets really. I mean, the humidity here in New England will drop down to
once a week.
30 to 20%
Yep.
inside your house.
That's what I do in the winter here. In New
No, it's
England,
interesting
once
is
a
I
week.
just put a whole house humidification system in my house. Now it's not at 70%. That'd be kind of cool because you could just like keep your cigars like outside on your desk. Or
You
whatever.
tried, but the
Yeah.
wife next that did
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So they do for larger humidors. They make a modification to the system that I have. In fact, our local B&M used the same guy to do their Joe Maz. I don't know if you've met him, but he does the HVAC work. He converted one of these units to do a humidor and had to get some special parts to swap it out.
Yep.
But the ones for the house, it keeps it at 40. Now, I'm not saying you go in your house and you put in a humidification device for your cigars, but it does actually help it keep your house from
I'd imagine
dipping
so,
down
yeah.
into 30 or 20, which, I mean, just health reasons alone.
I can tell you right now, my house is at 10%,
Yeah, that's
So,
dry. That's
yeah.
dry.
and I'm charging my
And now think
humidification
about
devices
that.
once a week. So
And think about that. If your house humidity is at 10 or 15%, your humidor has to work to bring that all the way
yeah.
up to 68, and that's a lot of work for your humidor. So
and when you're trying to do, stay away from those drastic changes, I'm trying to stay in between 68 and 70% at all
yeah.
times.
Well, because what'll happen
You know.
is your cigars will expand and contract.
And every
expand
time I
and
open
contract.
that humidor,
And when you age, if you see an aged cigar, a lot of times you'll see these little crinkles in the wrapper, right? Because humidity changes, so the cigar will expand and contract so much that the wrapper will actually get little crinkles in it.
yeah, I don't want to go on a tangent of having separate humidors for aged cigars versus. when
No,
you're
yeah,
smoking,
we can
but,
talk about that later.
yeah.
But that's a good. That's a great segment on using your or getting your humidor seasoned, which is very important. Now, I will say that if you live in a dry climate, like we talked about, you may have to once a year, every 2 years, re-season your humidor because it's
Impossible.
experienced so many changes. It may have, and your cigars can do this, and your climate can do this, sucked all of the moisture out of the cedar inside your humidor. So you take all your cigars out, you put them in Ziploc bags with those Bevita packs we talked about,
Yep.
re-season your humidor.
$4
and then-
each, folks.
yeah, and then those will keep it for a week or so, which is enough time to re-season your humidor and get it back to where it needs to be. So you may have to, with a desktop humidor, re-season it every once in a while.
And I'm going to say this one last thing. So you got a 50-count humidor for Christmas. Welcome to the fold, brothers and sisters. In 6 months, you'll be upgrading.
Yes, I'm not a big fan of desktop humidors. I really
It's
not.
happened to every single one of us. We all start with a 45, 50-count humidor. In 3 to 6 months, you will be upgrading.
Yep,
So it's okay. Accept it. Move on.
that's right.
So
And then you get multiple desktop humidors, and then
you move
you
on
spend
to
so much
what
time-
Paul is going to talk about next.
That's
actually.
right. That's right.
So,
So we'll take a little break, and we'll come back, and we'll talk about making a wine refrigerator into a humidor. This is just part one.
also known as a wine door.
A wineador, a cooler door. A cooler door is a cooler. A
wineador
wineador
is
is
a
a wine refrigerator.
Or fridge door.
Yeah, and we're back. Just wanted to remind everyone you can get to our website, StogieGeeks.com, for all the latest cigar reviews from none other than Tim Muggerini.
I try.
You can find a feed of all of the Stogies we're smoking, StogieGeeks.com/Stogies. Follow us on Twitter, Stogie Geeks. Fun stuff on Twitter. I like corresponding with all the... It's unbelievable. Like the people that I idolize in cigars, like they've blended some of the most favorite cigars I've ever smoked, will talk to us on Twitter.
Yeah,
to me, that's just awesome.
So what do you got, Paul?
I've got part 1, building a wine humidor. This is just part 1, where we're just going to talk about choosing the refrigerator that you're going to use to store your cigars.
I got to say, I'm glad you broke this up into pots because I think
It's
it
too
really
much for one.
It deserves separate.
There's too
segments,
much information here,
Yeah.
and this is built upon, it's a multi-part series because we're going to cover basically buying and building and converting a wine refrigerator into a humidor. And there's not a lot of converting you need to do. You don't need to take it apart and, like tune the flux capacitor. That's not what we mean by converting. It's multiple people's experiences in doing this process, including my own, Stogie Santa, and some of our good friends. Several sites cover this topic, but I think they all miss some of the details. Like one site will cover one aspect of it with certain details, and another segment may cover some of the details. And I'm always like, well, they're missing stuff, and that's because of my own experiences doing it and talking with my friends and their experiences doing it, and we've all used different models of refrigerators, and we've all had, different... Have another drink, Paul.
I gotta say, this scotch is fantastic.
It is. It's really good. All the scotch and rum I've been drinking tonight is fat. It's freaking awesome.
I just hope I don't have a headache like the last time, Paul.
We should just keep Tylenol right here in the studio. And you should just start popping it now.
Well, if I am one of the two. Right?
So, I'm hoping that we'll cover all the facts that will lead you to creating successfully a wine humidor, a wineador as they call it, that actually works. So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about first finding the refrigerator that you need to buy. Now, I want to preface this by saying you need a thermoelectric. Say it with me now. Thermoelectric refrigerator.
Do I have to?
Yes.
Okay. Thermoelectric.
Thermoelectric. A traditional refrigerator condenser actually removes the moisture from the refrigerator, which, as we just talked about in our previous segment, that's
Not
bad.
good.
Bad.
Yep.
Thermoelectric will not remove the moisture. It has other benefits in that, well, for wine, when the condenser in a traditional refrigerator kicks on and off, if you have a refrigerator and you haven't quite adjusted the feet properly on it, when the condenser kicks on and off, it'll kind of shake a little bit. If you got a couple of beer bottles in your refrigerator, they're sitting next to each other, they'll kind of jingle, so you can kind of know when your condenser's kicking on and off because the refrigerator is going to move a little bit. And what that does for wine is actually kind of shakes up the wine a little bit.
Paul, can you shake for me again?
Yeah, you kind of shake it up.
I like that.
Yeah, it shakes it up a little bit, and and that's bad, right?
Are you
for
blushing,
wine.
or is that just the whiskey?
It's both. So I guess for wine, that's a bad thing to have it shake up inside there. Certainly, if you're storing, I'm going to store some. Actually, I just bought one, which I'll get into, to store wine and beer in. Beer, obviously, that's bad because it's it's got some CO2 in it and stuff. So shaking beer is generally a bad idea. So you want to go with thermoelectric. The other advantage of thermoelectric is it doesn't consume as much electricity. So you'll save on your electric bill because of the thermoelectric. So make sure when you're searching on the various sites to purchase one, or you're going to a store and purchasing one, that it is, in fact, thermoelectric. The first thing I'll cover here is size. You'll be, I think, hard-pressed to find something more than 36 bottles in my experience. And I'm pretty sure, and I haven't confirmed this with the scientists and physicists that we consult with here on the show, that...
they want their payment, by the way.
Yeah, they want their payment. But why it is that you don't find really large thermoelectric refrigerators. I'm sure you could find them. They are extremely expensive. I'm talking thousands of dollars.
I was going to say, for the price, you can find anything. But
I think my belief is that the technology to thermoelectrically cool. You like that?
A nice-
I'm going to say it again.
You didn't stutter at all.
Get ready for it. Thermoelectrically cool a large bottle refrigerator, hundreds of bottles of wine, for example. The technology is probably really expensive, something to do with the physics behind the cooling of it. If you're going to spend thousands of dollars, you probably want to go buy the Aristocrat, which Mark was talking about before, which doesn't do cooling, but is well worth the money. You want to look at something like Avalo and some of the other manufacturers that will actually give you a thermoelectric cooling device and a humidification device that's meant for cigars and not have to go through this conversion process. Mm-hmm. So
well,
we're talking
Aristocrat
about
cools; it just doesn't heat.
Is that true? Does it have a cooling? Aristocrat has a cooling device in it. Is that true?
It has condenser fans and everything.
Okay. So, when you're looking at these wine refrigerators, they're typically 36 bottle is kind of how they're rated. They're rated by the number of bottles they store. A 28, 30 bottle is going to be your kind of average size, and then they've got smaller ones. You probably want to look at something that's at least a 28 bottle. It's probably not worth it to go anything smaller than that. So choose wisely, and keep in mind that if you're storing large numbers of cigars, whether you're going to go with the drawer system, which we'll talk about, build shelves and put boxes in it, whatever you're going to do, there's going to be some kind of limit of the number of cigars you're going to put in there. So you might want to think about buying multiple wine refrigerators if you're going to be storing large number of cigars, because the most you're going to get in the commercial market for a reasonable price, between $200 and $400, I would say, is between a 28 and a 36 bottle. Now,
out of curiosity, Paul, I know you have at least one Wineador. How many boxes can you store in that? What size is it, or how many dot boxes can you store in that reasonably?
I'd say you're going to get between 500 and 750. I don't think you're going to get 1,000 cigars.
Okay. How big is your?
Mine's a 28 bottle.
Okay.
I think if you went with the 36 bottle or the big double one, you ripped out all the shelves. So it's a good point. One of the things that Stogie Santa was telling me was, you take these wine refrigerators and you convert them, and you jam pack it full of cigars.
Bad news.
Yeah, there's not enough air circulation. They don't age right. There's not enough circulation. The humidity isn't even throughout the whole thing.
Or you get mold.
Yeah, or you get mold, and it's not a happy thing. So you don't want to jam pack them too full. So
the same goes for any humidor, though.
Yeah,
I've had the same experience with the desktop humidors.
Yeah,
so.
you generally want some circulation in your humidor. So to speak to price, I mean, don't go cheap. If you and this is kind of the overlying theme of this segment is they're not very well constructed. And I'll talk about the various aspects of what that means, of where your dollars are being put into this wine refrigerator. So, for example, if you go on the really cheap end, what might happen, from what I've read and from what I've experienced, and I've probably read close to hundreds of reviews of wine refrigerators, not different models, but hundreds of people's opinions on the different models of wine refrigerators, a number of things happen. It's going to work for a certain period of time, like a year, and then it's going to die. Or it's going to generate condensation, and you're going to have like a waterfall thing in your in your living room.
That does not sound good.
From the condensation. Not good. Or it could suck the humidity out anyway, because of the way some of these are constructed. I've personally experienced that and heard of other people experiencing that as well. Or it's not going to hold a constant temperature, so it's going to advertise, for example, that it's keeping your cigars or your wine or beer at 66 degrees Fahrenheit, when in fact it's really not. Keep in mind now, with respect to temperature range, when you're looking at these, that the top end in temperature on a lot of these refrigerators is like 66 or 68 degrees, right? Wine tends to...
And that's where you want white wine.
Even
yes.
even a red wine, you're going to want at the higher temperatures.
Red wine is typically room temperature.
Room temperature, so being about 70 degrees, right? And at that point, during the winter months, it needs to heat, right? Not cool, because your house is typically at 70 degrees. So I guess what I'm getting at is it's not working as advertised. That when you buy one of these wine refrigerators, you're going to crank up the temperature to the highest temperature that your fridge can
Yes.
possibly maintain, and that's not really what it's intended to do. In that you're not really cooling at that point. You're really just kind of either maintaining or actually needing to heat, and that's not what a thermoelectric. That's not a refrigerator, right? Your refrigerator's purpose is to cool. So you're kind of falling outside of the scope, which I think contributes a lot to these thermoelectric fridges going in the crapper after a year.
I would imagine so. I mean, yeah, they're not meant to do that. So
Right, exactly.
you're taxing them in a way that they're not meant to be worked. So
Yeah, and that's why I recommend to people that the cooling be something from an Aristocrat or an Avalo that's made to maintain that temperature, because they're knowing that cigars are going to be in there, and taking that into consideration.
price-wise, what can somebody do to get into a winador?
The ones I've been looking at recently are between $200 and $400.
That's what I've seen. So yeah,
It depends.
not counting shelves and everything else. That's just
Yeah, I mean, and some have two different temperature zones, which for your cigars doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Like you want the same temperature for
Yeah,
all your
yeah.
cigars, But for wine, they do make ones that have different zones. One for red wine, one for white wine. And in the $200 to $400 range, from what I've read, that doesn't work really well.
yeah, I imagine so.
So
You need to relight that out.
I'm gonna relight. So you talk about something while I relight.
I'm down to the last 2 inches of my feral pig. Still smoking great. Really loving this. Cannot wait to get 2 or 3 months on these things. Yeah, great smoke.
Yeah, I think the flavors are really going to develop on this cigar
Yeah.
as it ages. Great 60 ring, though. I mean, as much as we talk about 60 rings,
I'm not a fan of 60 rings, generally speaking.
Yeah.
And these are, the pigs are one of my favorites. I like it in this format, this Vitola.
yeah,
So-
I agree. So let's talk about warranty, because we talked about these fridges actually dying.
Bless you.
Thank you.
There's that cold coming.
A little bit of my cold coming in there. So let's talk about warranty. Most of these do come with a manufacturer's warranty, which is worth crap, basically. All of the reviews that I've read, so if you go on Amazon.com, for example, and you read the reviews, most people will, first of all, describe how horrible their customer service experience is with these particular devices, and with the manufacturers. So my suggestion is to buy it with your American Express card, which will often help you out with the warranty. For those of you that have an American Express, they will kind of back up your purchases and can sometimes refund your money in those particular cases. If the store offers a warranty on the wine refrigerator, I suggest that you buy it, because the manufacturing, and I've read a lot of reviews on these refrigerators, there's almost always 10% of the people that are writing a review on these devices will post a horrible review. DOA. I got it and it was dead on arrival. It ran for 6 months and it died. There was shoddy manufacturing and the shelves fall out. Whatever the case may be. There's always that 10%, no matter which wine refrigerator you look at. There's always a 10% of people, consumers, that are saying this is a horrible product. So it tells me that the manufacturing is not consistent. So if you can get a warranty from the merchant, so to speak, or your credit card company, I would definitely do that, because of the reviews and the experiences people have had with these devices.
And if
Now-
you can get a warranty on the cigars for your local brick and mortar, as you
that's
mentioned,
even better.
you better buy all your.
Now, if you're spending probably less than $300, you're probably going to get something that's pretty crappy. Now, I did check Best Buy, who has great warranty coverage on electronics. Now, I'm saying great warranty coverage where it makes sense, right? If you're buying
the
20
percentage that you spend on the warranty makes sense for what you're buying.
Yes, exactly.
Price
So if you're
point,
buying
yes.
a $50 item and they want to charge you $150 for a 3-year warranty, obviously that's not worth it.
Right.
But they'll still offer it to you as part of Best Buy. But their warranty is great. If you're buying a laptop, yeah, get the warranty, because chances are you might drop the laptop, and Best Buy is going to cover that above and beyond the manufacturer's warranty. Best Buy has a fantastic selection of wine refrigerators or wine coolers, as
Really?
they're sometimes called. I just checked their website before the show. They sell, what's the manufacturers that are out there? They sell,
I can't. I'm not that quick on Google.
yeah. What's the one that begins with a V that everyone uses? Vinotemp. They sell Vinotemp. They sell Edge Star is another one. They sell Wine Enthusiast, which is what mine was from. Hayer, KitchenAid, Danby. They sell all the big name wine refrigerators. Now, I haven't seen what their warranty is for these refrigerators, but if you can get a Best Buy warranty, pay a little extra, but get the Best Buy warranty, if it dies after a year, you'll get a brand new refrigerator. So that's my suggestion when you're shopping for these wine refrigerators to convert into humidors. Because like we said, you're going to run them kind of not outside the manufacturer spec, but you're going to crank that temperature up to probably the highest it can go.
It's going to be working.
And or it may not be working the way it wants to work, right? It wants to keep a lower temperature and actually work and run, but you may crank it to a higher temperature where it doesn't have to do that. So the other thing is talk to your people, the peeps. Well, talk to your friends, right?
Okay.
If they've purchased a wine refrigerator, ask them what works, what doesn't. Hey, which one do you have? They may say, hey, I've had this one for 3 years and it works friggin' great. The caveat to that is, what I found is that the different models of wine refrigerators differ. So someone may have an Edge Star 28 bottle wine refrigerator and they're like, this is great. But the following year, Edge Star came out and said, hey, you know what? We're going to swap a couple of these parts out because it's a little cheaper to get them from China, from this other place. But we're still going to call it the same model. We're still going to sell it at the same price. We're just going to make a higher profit. We're going to make it a cheaper refrigerator. And guess what? It's going to die. And I think that contributes to the reviews that are out there that are saying, hey,
probably, yeah,
mine died, but hey, mine ran great. I think it's because they're constantly swapping the parts out for cheaper parts. So,
just like anything else out there.
Exactly, right. It's
we
not
just were
just
talking
mine.
about laptops earlier.
Exactly.
And how certain
thing.
manufacturers 4 or 5 years ago were great. And
well,
now,
the same thing with cigars, right? Hey, I come out with, and I think the classic example is Rocky Patel Old World Reserve. Everyone said, oh, that was a great cigar. It was the best thing Rocky Patel ever produced in the first year it came out. And then after that, everyone else is like, wow, they changed the blend, and it doesn't suck, but it's not the same blend, right? So, so talk to your friends. And again, the models are different because they're swapping the parts out. Is the way I'm kind of seeing that. And let it sit after unpacking. So I just purchased a winter wine refrigerator, which I'm actually using for wine and beer. And this has the top couple of shelves for red, which I'm going to use for red wine that you can set one temperature. The bottom 6 or so shelves. It's about a 32 bottle.
Now hold up a second.
It's about $300.
Are you drinking wine, Paul?
I'm going to try and drink some wine.
Good for you, man.
Typically, it gives me a roaring friggin' headache. But,
try some of the organics.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
You don't do it enough.
Exactly. If I do, if I drink wine regularly, it's totally fine. I'm awesome. But the problem is,
I didn't mean to get off topic. I was just
the problem is then I drink scotch and I drink beer. I go back to wine. I get a roaring headache. So, I am gonna explore the wines. I do want to. So we bought a wine refrigerator. And I am storing some beer in it too because I want to try aging some beer because people said that's a good thing to do.
Interesting.
So I'm going to try doing that too. But about a winter, and what it said when I unpacked it was, hey, after you unpack this, let it sit for 2 hours before you plug it in to let things settle. Mm-hmm. This has to do with the condenser, the thermoelectric technology. I've experienced this in technology with printers. If you take an HP printer and you move it or you ship it somewhere, it usually doesn't work, right? Printers don't like to be moved for whatever reason. The same thing seems to be true for wine refrigerators. So I'm going to let mine sit overnight. I'm not going to plug it in, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to plug it in. And I think you should definitely do that with any kind of thermoelectric wine refrigerator you purchase. So,
now on the printer side, if I Google certain printers, I can print to whatever EDUs I want to, but never mind.
Yeah, that's a different subject, right? And so, like I said, they all get, the last thing here was they all get bad reviews. And I think that's just because
a lot can happen from manufacturing to shipping to
they're swapping the parts out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot can happen. So
I think they're taking a technology that's pretty expensive and they're trying to cram it into something that they want to offer for cheap, and that's what you get. So do your research. but in all the research I've done, like I can never find one brand of thermoelectric wine refrigerator that's like everyone says is awesome. It like doesn't exist. If you know of one, please tell us.
Yes,
StogieGeeks@gmail.com, and we'll put that up on the site, and we'll buy one and we'll convert it into a humidor. So that's just part one in choosing your refrigerator. I mean you're going to spend a lot of time researching it. Talk to your friends, read the reviews, see what goes on sale. Stogie Santa has some models
Does he really?
of wine refrigerators, not like models in the traditional sense.
Okay.
So
Sorry, I
has some
got
models,
excited there.
yeah, had some models of wine refrigerators that work really well for him. So my last piece of advice for people is if you know someone selling one that works, buy it from them if they want to sell it.
Yep.
Because I personally, if Stogie Santa wants to sell his wine refrigerators, I'm probably going to buy them and get rid of my cooler. My big cooler that I said, I have with beads in it, I'll totally replace that with a wine refrigerator.
But it's so sexy.
It's not. It's a big cooler. So that's part one in building a wine humidor or wineador.
Well done.
Again, thanks everyone for listening. I think that wraps up this episode. How is your Liga Unico Series Feral Flying Pig?
I'm down to the nub. It's still cool. Probably going to get at least a good half inch off this bad boy before I'm done. So
I'm almost done with mine. It's doing fantastic. It's still kind of spicy.
I'd say box worthy.
Yeah, I'd definitely say box worthy. So that's good because I bought a box.
I think all of us have a box.
Yes. So thanks everyone for listening. Again, you can find us at StogieGeeks.com, and we'll see everyone on the next episode.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So Tim, it's Tatuarje. Say it with me now.
Tatuarje.
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 It's like the word tattoo. Ahe.
Tatuarje.
There's no R in it.
There's no R in it.
Wait a second. I said an hour?
You did. You put an R in it.
Wow. That's not supposed to happen. I'm
Like
from
wah.
Massachusetts.
Say wah.
Wah.
Wahe.
Wah.
Wahe.
Paul's picking on me. Wah, wah, wah.
Wahe. Now say it with
Wahe.
me. Tatuaje.
Tatuarje. Hey, Paul, pronounce this rum for me.
Abuelo. That's abuelo, right?
See. See.
One more time, Tim. Tatuaje.
Tatuarje.
All right, I give up.
Good night.
Good night, everyone, and go smoke some Tatuarje. Poor Tim. I'm sorry, Tim. We love you.
Ball shot.